Welcome to the Discussing and Critiquing Film Media Podcast. I am your host, Juan, and as always, I am joined by my good friend Brian and Alberto, and today we'll be discussing Spider-Man 3. So we chose Spider-Man 3 this week, seeing as Venom is coming out this weekend. Spider-Man 3 came out in 2007, directed by one Sam Raimi of Evil Dead fame. Pretty good. It ended up grossing $890.9 million worldwide, despite the mixed reviews, right? That's pretty crazy though, because an MCU movie nowadays, that's how much it gets, right? Yeah. Around that number. But yeah. Anyway, while researching, I found the film synopsis for the film, and I just want to read it because I think it kind of explains why this movie is kind of, like a mixed bag, right? So I'm gonna just read it. Let's say, following the events of Spider-Man 2, Peter Parker has become a cultural phenomenon as Spider-Man, while Mary Jane Watson continues her Broadway career. Harry Osborn still seeks vengeance for his father's death. In an escaped, Flint Marko falls into a particle accelerator and is transformed into a shape-shifting sand manipulator. An extraterrestrial symbiote crashes to Earth and bonds with Peter, influencing his behavior for the worse. Wow, that's so much. There's so much in this movie. There's way too much in this movie, and just in that film synopsis, you already have like freaking 5 storylines, and it's a 2 hour and like 17.
It's a bit much.
Yeah,
too much.
So that kind of, you can see why the film was a bit,
Yeah, a bit much.
Just a bit, right?
I mean, character development wise, you'd be pretty confused. It's like, comparing it also to like The Walking Dead,
Mm-hmm.
Now, the new Walking Dead, at least, you have a lot of different characters to be talking about, and how, as well, like, you don't know which character to really pay attention to or which one you could connect with. Because, at the same time, when you're making a movie, you want a connectable character.
Mm-hmm. The opening titles, pretty good, because the music in these movies have always been great. And then the opening title sort of recapped the previous 2 films.
Oh yeah, they did.
And I think that's pretty cool. I think the last time I saw that, it was Inspector, which was a 007 movie.
Yeah. And
they sort of they didn't recap it, but they showed like a bunch of scenes from like Casino Royale and Skyfall, and I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. Like, it's a good way to show continuity within the film, especially since this is a trilogy, right?
Yep, it is.
But yeah, and so like I said, the musical score for this film is great. Even though it's not composed by Danny Elfman, who composed the previous 2 films, they have a new composer by the name of Christopher Young, but they still use the original themes. But then the new composer does new themes for both Sandman and Venom, and they're really good. But yeah, so and then. This is something we rarely see nowadays, especially in comic book movies, I think. Voiceover, Right away, the movie starts and Peter Parker is doing voiceover.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something we don't really see nowadays, right? Right? Like, sometimes we do.
And Deadpool.
But that's Deadpool. Like, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
He would have voiceover. But here it's kind of I don't know. Well, it's just seen as it's not as common anymore. It was very
It's
odd.
like breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. He's basically directly addressing the audience. But they've always had that voiceover thing at the beginning of each movie. At least this Spider-Man trilogy has. So after the opening titles and the voiceover narration, the first scene is just Peter going to see MJ at the theater, and that scene is a bit I don't know. It's a bit cringe. I don't know. It's whatever. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know if it was. I guess it is necessary just to show that, because later on
how their relationship is.
Yeah,
right now.
and her main storyline is that she gets fired from theater, and she's feeling hella depressed because she's like, oh, why can't I make it? And she basically gets jelly of Peter because he's Spider-Man. This movie moves pretty fast because we go from the theater scene to Peter talking to Harry. Mm-hmm. After the theater, to Peter and MJ, then back to Harry getting juiced with goblin serum, and then to the Venom symbiote landing on Earth and attaching itself to Peter's bike because he and MJ were in the park having a date. What the fuck? What a coincidence, right? That they would be there. And then that's not even the last thing. We then get introduced to Sandman, and all that in the span of like 5 minutes. That's insane. That's already like first 5 minutes You get all this stuff, and it's just the first showings of how
it's
movie,
kind of overwhelming.
It's definitely overwhelming, and there's just too much happening. The movie loses focus because it has so much to keep up with.
Yeah.
So.
Like too many characters in one movie already.
Yeah.
Kind of like Justice League in a way.
Yeah, actually, that's a very good comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, they introduced a lot of characters, which I mean, in the way they need their own character development, their own storyline, because not necessarily that everybody knows these characters by heart or knows the story.
Yeah, like Cyborg or
And if you do that in a very quick span of time, I mean, you could probably get lost in that maze.
So like just like before, DC used to be like really good, like they used to be on the top of their game, and then Marvel was like down here, dude. And then like suddenly, New Universe came in.
Yeah, Iron Man kicked in 2008 and changed everything basically.
And then after that, DC just went to garbage,
which is a real damn shame.
Yeah,
seeing as they had a pretty strong promise with Man of Steel.
They did.
But whatever. But that's a very good comparison, Brian. Justice League, and it's even worse, Justice League, because for some reason they a fuerza querían a 2-hour movie, less than 2-hour movie, and I don't know how that benefits anyone,
Yeah.
I mean, this movie, Spider-Man 3 is actually like it's kind of like average. It's 2 hours and 17 movie.
Yeah.
2 hours and 17-minute movie. I feel like they could have probably. Seeing as how much stuff there is, it probably could have benefited from a longer runtime, like a 2-hour 30.
Yeah.
But I guess it wasn't really that common to see a comic book movie that was like 2-hour 30, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so then we get introduced to Sandman, like I said, whose story is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I like how it starts for him.
Yeah. He's a very sympathetic character.
Yeah.
That unfortunately did not get enough time in the movie due to the overcrowded villain roster. But despite this, his arc in the film is great. In fact, I think he has the best story arc in the film, even better than Peter's. Honestly, I mean, but a majority of that has to do with Thomas Hayden Church's portrayal of Sandman. I think he did a really good job, and that's what all of the 3 Spider-Man movies do really good. All of their villains were always pretty good. Like Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, kind of sometimes cartoony, but still pretty good. And then Alfred Molina's Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 is still in my opinion, one of the best villain casts.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
You
disagree?
For who again?
For Dr. Octopus.
Oh. I mean, he was alright.
You think I was alright?
Yeah.
Well, which one of the 3 do you think is the best?
I think the best one is the Green Goblin, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, because it just showed more character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. Another storyline is introduced, that of Peter wanting to propose to MJ, which is it's a pretty weak storyline. I mean,
for me, she doesn't really seem interested with like marrying him, or as well like in the relationship, she doesn't seem too committed to it.
Right.
At the same time, because like you said, she seems depressed and she's like more focused on her career than.
Yeah, she's pretty selfish.
Yes.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah. What did she say last time?
She's like, well, he's just trying to. He visits. She visits him at his apartment, and basically he's just like, hey man, don't worry about. Because
he tells him that like be like Spider-Man, and she was just like,
no, well,
what about me? And I'm like, it's pretty selfish.
Yeah, pretty much puts the cherry on top of the selfish part, because at that point she just reveals that at this point she only cares about herself, her career, and everything.
Basically, her character development, like she's just way too selfish sometimes.
Yeah,
kind of bossy in a way.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, that's why, at this point, kind of doesn't feel like she's really into that relationship as much, or not as committed, like you say. It's weak because we don't see any interest from her into that part of the relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like it's kind of toxic.
Yeah, I mean, Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst have kind of chemistry. In the previous 2 movies, they did. I feel like in this one, not so much. I don't know why.
Redheads, am I right?
Yeah. All right. Well, right after that. Peter gets attacked by Harry, aka the new Goblin, which I think is one of the most ridiculous names ever given to a villain. I mean, I don't know why they couldn't just call him Green Goblin or Hobgoblin.
Yeah, Hobgoblin.
Obviously, it's not the same character, but I think that would have been a pretty cool, like, comic book
twist,
Easter egg, right? I mean, the fight's pretty good. It's not too bad. The score's really good in the movie. The music during the scene is like really nice, action-packed, and exhilarating. And then
there's a lot of really great action scenes in this movie, though.
And there are some parts where like it has some CGI that you're like,
you can notice it a lot.
But I mean, like, I give it leeway because it's 2007 and we're so used to seeing like freaking an Infinity War movie.
Yeah, 2007 we used a lot of CGI.
Yeah, a bit, and I think here it's a little bit more jarring because the previous two films didn't really use too much. Like it had the moments of CGI in the first and second one, but not as much, I think, as in here.
Yeah.
Like
because the fight scenes you could see the CGI and stuff.
Yeah. But besides that though, it's a pretty good thing. I think the fact that he has the ring that he's gonna propose to MJ with, and he keeps losing it. So he's trying to catch it while avoiding getting killed by Harry.
That's like a symbol of like.
It could be a symbolism that maybe it's not meant to be, you know.
Or I think it's like but like Peter keeps trying to get the ring. He's still trying to fight for his relationship. You know what I mean?
I mean, at the same time, still it goes all back to her not being.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, toxic. Because if only one person gives a crap about the relationship, then that's how you said it makes it weak.
Yeah, and then so then they end the fight in an alleyway, and it's kind of funny. I mean, this is because basically Peter makes a web, and then Harry gets a pumpkin bomb blown up right next to him, which sort of like distorts him for a bit, and that's why he runs right into the freaking web line.
Yeah,
and it's the funniest thing because you just hear a little doing. It's literally that's the sound effect that it makes, and then he gets hit in the head with a pipe, and it has another sound effect.
Chime in right here?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, by the way, this is special guest star Emanuel,
aka Salty Mexican.
AKA the Salty Mexican, yes, AKA the Notorious. Follow me on Instagram at Surprise Mother. Anyway, so I want to say right now, Peter Parker is the most serious dude I've ever seen. Because if he can keep a straight face after seeing all that.
It's very true. That's very true.
Anyway.
All right, man.
Signing off.
Thank you for that. It's pretty good. It's true though, because I mean, like, I get it. Harry was attacking him. He was obviously trying to kill him. But I mean, dude, that anything goes wrong, and Harry's dead, dude.
Yeah, because he's basically still a human being.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he has the serum, but like that doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't make him
immortal.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't make him not boneless.
And so I think it's pretty funny that freaking Peter's like, I had the great idea of we'll just trip this guy up by the head, basically. Is what he does. So yeah.
Then he just like takes him to the hospital.
Yeah, then he takes him to the hospital. And there's this funny there's a lot of funny unintentional parts in this movie. But again, I'll get to that like later on when he so he basically ends up getting amnesia, right?
Yeah.
And so he doesn't like he thinks he's chill with Peter. He forgets that because Harry always thought that Spider-Man killed his dad.
Yeah.
So he sort of forgets their feud and they're friends again. But anyways, after that,
another story arc.
Yeah. And so we go back to Sandman, right? Who's getting chased by the cops, right? And there's actually a very nice Easter egg in there. In the precinct, when they're saying that they're chasing Sandman, they're like he escaped from Rikers, and Rikers Island is a prison in the comic books. So I think that's it's just like. What is this? Like I forgot what the place
scene
was.
Yeah.
No, it's just like an island, which is just a prison.
But who's in the prison?
Well, it's usually like a bunch of like Spider-Man villains because it's in New York.
The Sinister Six. Of course,
well, it showed up in the new Spider-Man game. So he's getting chased. He jumps this fence that says that they're just freaking scientists testing. And okay, so it's pretty ridiculous because you think about it. Like he drops into like the particle accelerator or whatever it's supposed to be, and the scientist. It literally shows you a scene of the scientist being like, "Hey man, something like landed in our thing, and then he's like, it's probably just a bird. Let's start this BS up. I'm like, are you serious? They really couldn't check to see, hey man, there's a guy in there. They could care less. What if the bird stayed in there? He's like, it's probably just the bird will fly away. What if it didn't fly away? What the fuck? I don't know.
A mutant bird.
I just think it's really funny that these scientists really have they have no precaution. It's a comic book movie, so it makes sense that Sandman would become Sandman in a freaking science experiment, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Sandman's like afterwards, like you see like his birth scene.
Yeah, it turns into particles.
Yeah. Well, you just like it's like this whole scene where it's just a bunch of the sand, and then like he starts to take shape, right?
Yeah.
And it's like this. The CGI is not that bad.
Yeah.
Like it still holds up. Like I think like it also helps it because the score in it is very good. It's a very like tragic sounding piece of music.
Yeah, because we see the daughter.
Yes, exactly. The whole purpose of Sandman. The reason he's a criminal is because he's trying to help support his daughter, who I believe has some sort of condition. I don't know what it is, but
wasn't it cancer or something?
I don't know if it's cancer. It could be, but I mean, but she's sick basically. Yeah. He's trying to pay for her medication and stuff.
He gets caught.
That's why it's a very tragic story.
Yeah.
And I like that the musical score reflects that pretty good.
And I mean, also going back to how you want to connect to a character. I mean, this is one of the points where you could, like how you said, it was kind of like a tragedy that he couldn't get more screen time because honestly, I mean, any parent watching would probably see that and be able to actually connect with that character because they'll do anything for their kids.
That's why he's just a great character. That, as you said, it sucks that there was too many other villains. Because if it was a movie just dedicated to him, it would have been even better, I think.
Yeah.
After Sandman's birth scene, we got this is the scene we were talking about earlier where MJ is pretty annoying. Mm-hmm. She goes to talk to Peter about how she got a review on the newspaper and how it says that she was trash, basically. Yeah. And man, again, her storyline in this movie is very weak. Because it's sort of just, you don't really care. Yeah, you can't really connect to her because she's so, just selfish. And
she's narcissistic.
A little bit, yeah. And she's just so aggressive towards Peter. And this guy's just trying to...
He's trying to just support her.
Yeah, but she's like, no. And...
Me.
Yeah, basically. But, anyways. So, the next scene is Spider-Man rescuing Gwen Stacy because there's this accident with a crane that freaking topples down the building that she's in, which it's a bit of a odd premise, but you know what, it doesn't matter, man. It's a freaking Spider-Man movie. It's
coincidence.
I get it.
I
coincidence that she's in the building right across the crane that's being damaged, that's swinging, but anyways, but it's cool because the scene is actually really awesome of Spider-Man swings through the rubble of the building while she falls, and it's like the music stops, it's like very silent. It's just
it's intense.
It's very cool. It's very reminiscent of Infinity War, where after they're in Titan, after Thanos drops the freaking moon, Spider-Man is swinging around the debris trying to rescue the Guardians because they're all knocked out, and so that was pretty cool. I'm like, that's very reminiscent, right?
Yeah.
So that seems pretty cool, and then we're introduced to Topher Grace's Eddie Brock. Who's at the bottom of this? Who's in the street, right? He's taking
on the 70 shows,
right? Yeah, that's 70 shows. Topher Grace, right? And he's in the street taking pictures, and he's talking, and he talks to basically Gwen's dad, who's the police station captain.
We don't really see him a lot.
We don't see him a lot, which is a real damn shame. That's what I like about Amazing Spider-Man. We get to see Captain Stacy a lot more. But and then it's our first introduction to Eddie Brock, and right away you're like, this guy,
It kind of looks iffy.
Yeah, it's a bit funny. I mean,
it feels kind of cringy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the main reason he's there is, story-wise, he's there to say that he's basically dating Gwen, which comes back later on in the film, in a very loose way, but comes back somehow. And he's basically going to compete against Peter to take photos of Spider-Man, right? That's like his through line in this movie until later on, right? But yeah. And speaking of which, the next scene is the Daily Bugle scene. And man, J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson is still one of the best casting ever, man. Like he's just so freaking funny, man. But it's so great. But so, it's funny. Something I noticed here was that every freaking movie has a different Daily Bugle set. And that's random. Like it's not important.
Yeah.
But it's just something I noticed. Like Spider-Man 1 has has one set. Spider-Man 2 has a completely different set, and then this movie has a third set. I don't know why they keep changing the Daily Bugle sets, man. Like, what's wrong? I don't know. I just think it's funny. But anyways, so like I said, it sort of just shows that Eddie and Peter are gonna have a rivalry between each other to see who can beat. Well, they're all working for a position in the Daily Bugle, right?
Yeah, who can have the higher salary?
Yeah, they're trying to get promotion, basically. And so that's the feud between Peter and Eddie. But anyways, right after that, the Spider-Man parade scene. Which is it's pretty. I mean, this is another thing that's so rare. You don't see like superhero parades in movies.
Yeah,
like you don't. You know. Because
you only just get a statue to commemorate it.
Maybe, yeah, or like
not a parade.
Yeah, but like I guess for Spider-Man.
How did he get a parade though?
Well, because he's like, I mean, it makes sense that in Spider-Man 3, like already, he would be like a well-known person in New York, because you already have Spider-Man 1 and 2. But I mean, it's kind of but it's not out of place. That's the thing, because it's Spider-Man. It kind of makes sense. Like I remember the last thing I remember seeing where it's like a superhero parade was in the Flash TV show, and season 2, the first episode, they have a Flash day. But it makes sense that like superheroes like Spider-Man, Flash, they would have parades. Yeah. And then right after that, we have our first fight between Spider-Man and Sandman. Sandman's trying to take money from a armored truck.
Yeah.
That's transferring money, and it seems pretty good too. It's short, but it kind of displays Sandman's powers pretty cool, because Spider-Man punches him in the chest and then literally just goes through, and it's like, what the fuck? It's pretty cool. Yeah.
And then he turns his hand into a hammer.
So like, yeah, so he has like, I think he just like enhances his hand one, he does a hammer one.
Yeah. Which
is pretty cool, because I remember I had a Sandman action figure that had a bunch of interchangeable hands.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, that's so cool, because that's what I automatically thought about.
Very nice.
Yeah. But so that fight's pretty good. And then going back to the storyline of Peter trying to propose to MJ, we have the French restaurant scene.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny too, because of Bruce Campbell's cameo.
Big car.
Yeah. That's what I said. Pet car. And obviously Bruce Campbell has had a cameo in each one of the Spider-Man movies. In the first one, he was the announcer.
Yeah.
When Peter's trying to win the money. In the second one, he's the guy at the front of the theater who won't let Peter in because he's late.
Oh yeah.
And then this one, he's at the front counter of the restaurant.
Doesn't seem odd at all.
Yeah, I know, but
maybe he's like Stan Lee in the MCU.
Yeah,
he's the Watcher.
The reason he cameos is because it's Sam Raimi, and Sam Raimi obviously directed the Evil Dead films, and Bruce Campbell starred in those movies. Okay. So that's why it's like, that's what I meant. Like, almost every director has like their go-to actor that they'll always have in the movie. Like in every one of the movie, whether it's a cameo, supporting role, a big role, anything, they'll have him there, right? And so Bruce Campbell is Sam Raimi. That's his actor, And what's actually interesting is that, and we can get into this later on once we finish, but Bruce Campbell was supposed to play Mysterio in Spider-Man 4. Which
never happened.
Which unfortunately never happened.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, now I'm gonna be playing.
But now I'm pretty sure we're gonna have one.
Yeah, now for sure we're freaking Spider-Man Far From Home. Mysterio is confirmed to be the villain, which is really exciting because
you already see they leaked the set pics.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to see any of those leaked sets. I want to see an official look.
Unfortunately, I saw them.
I know. I glimpsed at them and I was like, God damn it! But it looks really good though.
It does.
From what I saw,
the costume really design.
Yeah, he's just missing his fishbowl.
It's almost like an astronaut.
That's all he's missing. Yeah, he's just missing his fishbowl. Which I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna put the fishbowl.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I think it'll be. It'll work.
It gives it that nice Mysterio look.
Yeah.
You don't see anything.
Way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, but anyways.
So Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Thank you, Emanuel, for bringing us back. But
in theaters, 2007.
MJ arrives and she's basically mad at Peter because during the freaking parade scene, Peter Peter kisses Gwen, who's giving him the key to the city or whatever.
Yeah. And she was like, that was our kiss.
Yeah.
Well, no, she first says that was my kiss, right?
Yeah. No, she says that was our kiss.
she said that was
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then she's basically, I'm like,
Jelly, a bit
yeah,
jelly.
she gets jelly basically.
Yeah.
essentially.
Even though, I mean, Shorty gave him a sign that, I mean,
She wasn't interested.
Yeah.
interested. I mean, that's kind of on her.
Yeah.
Peanut butter and jealous, dude. She saw that and she was like, hell no. That's my man. She was about to throw hands with Gwen Stacy, dude. I swear.
I know. And honestly, I would have been rooting for Gwen.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah. Who wouldn't?
Yeah. But anyways, so then they don't really break up. MJ sort of just leaves.
Yeah.
And Peter's there, and he has to pick up the ring from the freaking champagne glass that's what was his idea of a proposal, right? He was gonna he put the ring in her champagne glass.
You know how much he had to pay for that champagne, dude?
correct.
That's a dick move.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
For real, though.
But yeah.
She leaves him hanging with the bill.
So the next scene is Peter trying to call MJ when he's back at his apartment. She doesn't answer him. But
Yeah.
he gets a phone call from the precinct.
Oh, and then remember the symbiote comes in.
Oh, not yet. Though.
Not yet?
Not
No,
yet.
that's
not
after.
yet. That's after. So because what happens is he gets called by the police saying that they.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That Sandman basically they find out that obviously in Spider-Man 1 we see Peter. Well, he doesn't kill him, but the guy accidentally gets killed because he trips up or something.
You could say assisted suicide.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyways, so he thinks his person who killed Uncle Ben is
Oh,
dead.
yeah.
But then it's revealed that supposedly Sandman is who actually killed him. And I'm like, what a twist, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow, I had to take 3.
Dun,
yeah,
dun, dun,
I know,
movies.
but like it's not. But like, first of all, that's not a comic book thing.
It seems far-fetched.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, to be honest, it reminded me exactly of 1989 Batman, where they say that Joker killed Batman's
Yeah,
parents,
exactly.
right? I don't know. I just think that doesn't really make any sense, you know?
It would be like super old.
It makes them like
exactly,
you
but-
get it from like a
Right.
movie standpoint, and
Right,
that like
yeah.
it makes it so that he now feels like he's personally needs to go freaking murk Sandman, right?
Yeah.
From a comic book perspective, like the nerds, they know that's BS, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So seeing the movie, they're gonna be like
me.
what the f?
Yeah. So then, next scene, Peter's in his apartment, and he's basically staying up all night listening to the 911 radio.
The police scanning.
Yeah. Thank you. And he's just trying to find Sandman, right? Then he knocks out,
30 minutes.
and the symbiote attaches itself to him, right? So,
Looks like he was having a seizure or something.
Oh yeah, but
Or-
they have like cuts, like he's having like a nightmare of Uncle Ben dying, while the symbiote is. I feel like they could. I don't know why they never did a nightmare scene like in the 90s animated series, where it's Peter Parker.
Getting flashbacks.
No, he's getting chased by the symbiote.
Oh.
Right, and it's like a giant Venom basically,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's Spider-Man, and it's a very cool dream scene in the animated series, and I feel like imagine.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
And I'm like, if they could have done something like that in this movie, that would have been really cool, especially since Sam Raimi is such a he's well known for directing horror.
Yeah.
I think it could have done a very nice
Very nice.
horror nightmare scene right there, right? That would have been really cool.
For real.
But anyways,
Would have been a great jump scare.
yeah.
But it would have given it like, or not really an R rating, but it would have just like made it
No, it
not
wouldn't.
within the PG-13.
It wouldn't necessarily give it a rated R
Yeah, I mean-
film because it's just a nightmare and there's not gonna
I
be
guess
blood in it.
Yeah. So he gets the symbiote, and he wakes up outside of his apartment somehow. I still don't really. I guess the symbiote was controlling him, right? So then he goes to visit Dr. Connors, and basically to find out what the heck this thing is, right? Connors is basically telling him, "Hey man, just don't use it, okay?
Yeah, just don't use
Just
all of
Don't
it.
don't let that stuff touch you.
Yeah, exactly.
Too late.
Yeah, kind of. Anyway, so then, but after that, he gets back to his apartment, and as soon as he opens the door, he hears the freaking report on the police scanner.
Yeah.
They're talking about
And they're talking about how there's a sandstorm. Report
Wink,
whoever
wink.
can. Yep. And that's how he's like, oh,
I know who that is.
Better.
Yeah.
I'm about to get my red suit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. I actually like that.
For
It's
the
pretty
black
good.
suit.
Yeah, he's about to pick up the Spider-Man's the regular one, and then he stops, pauses, and then he takes
Puts
the
it
black,
the
suit
suit,
instead.
yeah, takes it.
Which is pretty cool. I like that. Anyways, so
I mean, that's how you know, like, it's like, choice between two different paths.
yes, exactly. I like that. So yeah, Peter finds Sandman escaping from a robbery and pursues him into the subway. And they have the second fight, which is actually another pretty good fight.
Cool,
I think for me the highlight of the fight is freaking
just getting his face.
Yeah.
Did you see that his teeth were coming out?
Yes, I saw that edit, and that was pretty cool. I'm like, that's insane. I mean, that's freaking Spider-Man literally just gets him and places his face against that train, and I'm like, God. I mean, lucky that it's Sandman, right?
Yeah.
This is
This is a real person.
Oh yeah, no.
That's murder in like the 20th degree.
No, you definitely get your rated R movie right there.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, and so then Spider-Man basically defeats Sandman by drowning him. Essentially, that's what he does.
Well, I mean, his weakness is water.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, he becomes like he's just mud. Yeah. And he thinks that he killed him. So he's
that wet sand you throw at your cousin when you're at the beach.
Yeah.
Do you think he's like immortal? Like
Sandman?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a very good question. I feel like
because like if sure the water stopped him, but it didn't.
But later
kill him.
on, we see that he's not dead. He just sort of reforms.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like if you put him inside like a bucket of water, he wouldn't be. Yeah, he wouldn't be able to escape, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would die though. I think
that's why.
Stay there. Yeah. I don't know. That's a very good question. Maybe he would just age. Although I don't know if that even.
I don't even know if he.
I don't think he can age at this point.
What a weird.
Because like if you can shapeshift, then.
Yeah. Or actually, I think one of the ways they end up defeating him is they turn him into glass since he's sand.
Oh yeah, that too.
That works too.
They literally just break him. And he's
Okay, then that.
I guess that.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Then that'll be his like instant kill.
Yeah. But it doesn't happen in this movie.
But you know how high the temperature has to be in order for him to turn to glass? Hella high.
I'm sure. I guess that's why we didn't see it here.
Higher than I am right now. Anyway.
Anyways, so then after Peter thinks he kills Sandman,
there we see that dark transition.
we start seeing. Well, I mean, he fixes
more emo.
he fixes his hair. He pulls it down. Yeah, he gets to his apartment, and this landlord is like,
"Where is my rent?"
Yeah, he's like, this is free country, not rent-free country. And he's basically Peter's like he screams at him to fix his damn door, right? And like
pretty tough.
Yeah, pretty tough. But I mean, I think it's their way of showing that he's slowly starting to become a much darker person.
More aggressive.
An abusive person.
Right. Yeah. That transition is starting.
Like,
even though he's not fully.
Like how Uncle Ben told him, with great power comes with great responsibility. And it's not you doing that. He's doing.
Yeah.
Taking it
He's
over.
responsible for a murder, so.
Yeah, and then so going back to MJ and her story, I know. It kind of interludes with Harry because she basically calls him and asks him if they can hang out. She feels lonely, quote unquote, right? And
she was about to call Peter.
Yeah, but so she goes to Harry's house, and there we see the best scene in the movie, hands down, the best scene.
They're dancing, right?
They're freaking dancing the twist, and they're making omelets. It's the best scene in the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, he tries to do a flip, and... Yeah, and whatever.
It was a great scene. It just shows how,
the omelet got murked.
It's very odd. I don't know. It's very out of place in my opinion. Like you get this.
But I mean, it kind of shows how.
Well, it's there's this whole. Because right afterwards, it's followed by freaking MJ kisses Harry, and then she gets triggered for some reason, and she bails.
Well, Look at it like this. Like all the strain you see in her relationship with with Peter, right? Like she was never in a good mood whenever they would go out for like dates, and if she was in a good mood, it was just to hide the fact that she was pissed, right? And then now she's like genuinely happy, laughing and dancing with freaking Harry. Then she kisses him, and then she realizes, oh wait, I'm still in a relationship with Peter.
I guess, yeah. But I mean, it's just it's not presented very well. I mean, in my opinion, it's very, it's very
still poor.
It's what's the word? Ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. But this cringe fest is short-lived as MJ and Harry kiss, which causes MJ to leave the match and causes Harry to rage so hard that he starts hallucinating Willem Dafoe in the mirror. Which and that basically triggers him to gain his memories back.
That seems so far-fetched.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, it's
life hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Peter killed my dad.
Yeah. So he gets his memories back, right? And there's this funny edit. So in the previous scene when it's the hospital scene where Peter goes to visit Harry after he freaking knocks him the F out. Yeah. And that's where he finds out he has amnesia. There's this conversation that they have where Harry asks Peter, he's like, my father, he died, right? And in the scene, Peter doesn't say anything, right? But later on, I forgot what it was. He says, "Yeah," like smiling, like "Yeah." And so in this scene, when he's remembering all the memories, they edit it so like he asks that question, "My father, he died, right?" And they edit it so that Peter says, "Yeah," with a big ass smile. And it's to me, it got me out of it because I'm like, that's so funny.
He's dead.
What an edit, Yeah, exactly. Because originally that he doesn't say like hello happy. He's just quiet. He doesn't tell him anything. I don't know. I just thought that was really funny.
Anyway.
Yeah. So then Harry goes to threaten MJ that he will kill Peter if he doesn't break up with him, which doesn't make any sense because MJ seems to forget that Peter is frickin' Spider-Man. But okay, I guess. So then Peter goes to meet MJ at the park, where she breaks up with him, and Peter tries to salvage this piece of crap of a relationship by basically proposing to her, even though she already told him it's over.
I don't understand why he did that.
Yeah, I know, and then that's why the storyline is really bad, and it's just a mess, and it's not at all compelling.
Look, I got this for you. No.
No, yeah. He's like, no.
Just no.
Yeah.
I don't want you no more.
Yeah.
Take your damn ring and get out of here.
Yeah. I still don't understand how he's attracted to her. Like,
I know.
She doesn't love him, dude.
Yeah, there's like no love. It's just toxic.
Speaking of toxic relationships, the next scene, Harry and Peter are talking about how Peter's like, hey, MJ broke up with me, and Harry was like, oh, guess what? I'm
the rebound.
Yeah,
the rebound.
Yeah.
I'm the rebound.
And he kind of basically tells him that he's the one who sort of orchestrated the whole thing because Peter leaves because he's mad that Harry's dating this girl, and like freaking Harry turns around, winks at him, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I don't really understand that. Why would he reveal himself? Like, because that subplot is so short-lived.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was, but it's because too much stuff is going on.
Yeah, I know, right? And
like they had to like rush it.
Mm-hmm. Later on, Peter goes to confront Harry at his home. He takes the black suit. I mean, he doesn't have it on, but he has it on, right? So like it shows that he's progressively getting more aggressive, right? And he gets really aggressive in the scene, obviously.
Can I chime in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Of course.
So what I do like about this movie, and that like between the relationship between Harry and Spider-Man, or at least Peter, is that whenever they're fighting, they're always like, Peter's never in the freaking Spider-Man costume. And he's never wearing the mask.
Yeah.
And then freaking Harry is like, he does have that face mask thing, but most of the time it's open, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of emphasizing that, like, the strained friendship between Peter and Harry, and how they're fighting, and then how they eventually come back as like, as friends, as brothers.
So yeah, they have their suits underneath.
Yeah.
The whole fight.
Exactly.
Harry has his,
the freaking the Batman wannabe thing.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But more badass because they're like 3 blades.
Yeah, and they have that. Like,
they're really sharp too.
Yeah, but so.
I liked it. His costume design though.
For what, Harry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really badass. It's like new techno, retro goblin.
Yeah, I guess.
Not retro, but
Yeah. Well, anyways, so the fight's pretty good. I'd say.
Doesn't last that long.
Doesn't, but it's pretty short because they end up in the secret mirror place where he has all the goblin bombs and all his stuff. And it ends up with freaking Peter blowing up half of Harry's face off.
Yeah,
I don't know how he didn't die, dude. Like,
I guess honestly, you can just say that
he didn't die.
Whoa.
He didn't die from
getting hit in the head and falling like some pretty tall story. I guess I don't know. But yeah.
But then the serum kicked in, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess the serum kicked in here too because later on he doesn't die.
But look, you remember Spider-Man 1? How freaking Peter got one of those things thrown at him and he got, like, blew up his face.
Yeah.
But he was left unscarred.
Well, I guess you could say because his mask.
I guess, but his mask
No.
He's even done this.
But
he got cut up.
Don't forget that Spider-Man has not like
a healing factor.
He has like a type of healing factor.
Or it could just because he's strong.
Yeah. And that's true. Yeah, because he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense that for Harry it would leave him scarred, but not dead.
Yeah.
But then again, like, just doesn't connect.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the next thing, Peter's walking down the street, and he sees a newspaper with he knows it's a fake photograph of Spider-Man,
Eddie Brock.
Because Eddie edits it to make it look like he's robbing some place, right?
Yeah.
He's robbing a bank.
That's what Jay Jonah wanted, right?
Yeah.
He wanted a picture that showed Spider-Man being a criminal,
with his
right?
hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah. Or based on that photo, gets a job.
What are you waiting for? Chinese New Year? Go.
But yeah.
I just love him.
Yeah, I know. Freaking J.K. Simmons is so great. But anyways, so then Peter goes to the Daily Bugle, and then he basically exposes him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man.
In front of everybody.
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
yeah,
because he knows it's So that
sit down, son.
That gets Brock fired, and
I don't know how they didn't see this though.
I know, right? Exactly. Anyways, and so he gets fired, and that's basically starts his hatred for Peter, right? Like,
It's just, he goes to church for some reason. I don't know why.
But we'll get to that.
Please kill Peter Parker.
But that's not the only thing that starts as we get the best scene in the movie, not the twist one. This is the best scene in the movie. All right, this, guys, is the quintessential. Of course, I'm talking about the dance montage. Oh my God.
Dude, I used to dance like that all the time. Back when that movie came out.
Oh my God.
I used to love that dance.
Yeah.
That was like our Fortnite dances back then.
I guess it was.
Yeah.
Listen, man, this scene is meant to show that the symbiote has completely consumed Peter's personality.
It doesn't look like
It's very poorly done.
It looks like it's doing some weird stuff to him.
Yeah, it just comes off as very ridiculous.
What-
Like he's a crack fiend.
Is this what the symbiote does on his home planet?
Yeah. But yeah. But
Just imagine Carnage, dude. If there was a symbiote of Carnage.
Yeah. But at least it's entertaining.
Shout out to
Yeah, it was entertaining.
Yeah,
and it was like really memeish.
And it, of course, yeah, exactly. It freaking spawned a bunch of memes. So, listen, I guess it wasn't all too bad, right? To that hilarious montage, we found out that Sandman is not dead.
Yeah.
We see him out of like some sewer BS, and like he just reforms.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, all right, cool, I guess.
I'll take it.
But yeah, but no time for explanation, as
Yeah.
this scene is immediately followed by Peter taking Gwen out to the place where MJ works.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Also, Brock just so happens to be walking outside and sees that Peter's dating Gwen, which even furthers his hatred for him, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, okay, right, sure.
I don't.
Yeah.
Didn't like Eddie and Gwen not even have a
Well,
relationship?
that's why like
He
that's
was
what's so poor.
pursuing
That's
it.
what's
He
so
was pursuing
No, but
it.
that's what's so poor about it, because he just when he in his first thing he says, "Oh, and I'm dating your daughter to Captain Stacy," right?
Yeah.
And it's like, but that's about it. Like, we don't really ever
You don't
see
see
it.
any
Yeah,
development
exactly.
of-
It's just said. It's
think-
never
But
shown.
she was
right?
like, what's it called? He was like, what about that one amazing day? And she's like, we just had coffee, dude. Chill out. Like, she literally said it like that.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty
And
funny.
I was like, damn.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then,
Poor kid.
yeah, I guess, but it just shows, right? He's starting to hate Peter more,
Yeah.
which is fine, I guess. But then we get. I know I've said this twice now.
The
Well,
best.
This is the best scene in the movie, all right?
Okay.
I'm not lying. This is the best scene, all right? It's the dancing.
Yeah.
Much like the montage earlier, it's absolutely goofy.
Very much. So.
He was checking out the girls, right?
You know, he walks in and he like freaking
Gets a suit, right?
He calls He calls up
The waitress.
the waitress in the place.
Finding some shade here.
Yeah, and he freaking slides her like a 20. It's like, oh, okay.
Dude. You're a freelance photographer. You can't be slipping 20s.
That's very true. That's a very good point.
The symbiote's making him go broke, dude. Like, for real.
Yeah. But
I mean, he is broke. I don't know. I don't even know how he's still living.
He
in
can't
that
even pay
apartment.
rent. What the hell?
it just sort of it adds kind of to the ridiculousness of the whole nature of this scene, right? I guess.
Alright.
It's, but anyways, by the way, though, even though Peter was only dating Gwen to get at MJ,
Yeah.
I still think Peter should have stayed with her.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
It was probably a better.
Yeah, because MJ is just no good.
yeah, it's too toxic, man.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. Anyway, Peter gets into a fight with a bouncer, which causes him to accidentally hit MJ. This results in Peter snapping out of the symbiote's effect. As the next scene, we see Peter on top of a church, which, what a transition.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of cool because...
Which just so happens to be the same church that Eddie Brock
exactly. That's
visited.
exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah. Which,
Coincidence?
I think not. I guess. But this
All of it is a coincidence.
Yeah.
Dude. Like,
He
it's-
just so happens to see them go into the freaking jazz club.
Yeah.
He just so happens to be in the same church.
Yeah.
what's up with all these churches, man?
I don't know, man. It's pretty funny. But anyways, basically Eddie's there to ask God to kill Peter Parker.
Peter?
And I'm just like, bro, that's not how it works. But okay. Peter, he's trying to get rid of the symbiote, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
He figures out, hey man, this is no good for me.
Yeah.
I'm in a toxic relationship with the symbiote.
Yeah, I guess so. But so yeah,
But he couldn't cut off Mary Jane. What the hell?
I don't know. Anyways, he manages to get it off by freaking slamming himself against
Into
the
the bell.
huge ass.
I didn't even know that was gonna work though.
Yeah, I mean,
No, he didn't. He didn't
He did
do
it
it
by
on
accident.
purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knocked into it and
Yeah,
then he
and
saw
then
that.
he saw it.
Another thing is, can you just take it off?
no, man.
No,
the
did
symbiote
you
wants to
see
stay
him?
attached to him.
He was freaking trying to rip it off and then
But
he
wasn't
kept
it then?
on growing back?
Didn't he used to like just take it off? And
That is very true because
Oh yeah.
in the suit form, he literally just took off his mask.
Yeah.
And,
I'm like,
yeah.
What's going on there?
I don't know what's going on.
Well, maybe the
I guess
symbiote knows.
he knew that he wasn't trying
Yeah.
to get rid of him. I guess at that point, but it's still kind of weird. It's a very good observation, man.
because if it was bonded inside of him, then it should be just like coming out.
Coincidentally, Brock's there, and that's how he gets the Venom symbiote. Because he hears Peter on top yelling, and he's like, "Hey man, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And then
He looks up.
he looks up and he freaking sees.
And then
Oh look,
there's,
it's
like,
raining oil.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's not the good oil.
Yeah, and that's how we get Venom in this movie. Which is
And another character.
another villain introduced.
Another
Like, and
freaking-
it's like the movie only has like 20 minutes left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I'm like, are you serious? Already introducing them? Very much like Amazing Spider-Man 2, where you have Rhino at the beginning, then you have Electro for the majority of the film, and right at
And
the
then
end.
Rhino comes back.
Yeah, right at the end. But then right before that, it's Green Goblin.
They drop you with the Sinister
Yeah.
Six.
Jesus.
Yeah.
For real, it was 3.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hella forgot.
Yeah, well, don't worry, it's a very forgettable movie.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was alright.
It was.
Emma
great.
Stone as Gwen Stacy was.
That's pretty good.
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie
oh my
Foxx,
God.
As Electro.
That sucks. See, Jamie Foxx is such a great character,
I
such
know,
a great actor, but
and then they put him as a janitor.
nerd.
they really misused
He
him.
wasn't even a
Yeah.
janitor, dude.
the hell was
They just
he?
treated him like shit.
Yeah. Venom goes to find Sandman so they can team up and
How did-
murk Spider-Man. I don't know how he found him. But I don't.
Well, he was swinging around.
Yeah.
And he saw him, and then freaking Sandman was
Couldn't,
all like,
couldn't
"This is the end of
Spider-Man do
life."
that?
This is the last 20 minutes movie. This movie
Yeah.
moves like this, man.
Isn't it coincidence
Yeah,
that freaking
yeah.
Venom is swinging around and he just so happens to
to
find
swing
Sandman?
right in the alleyway that Sandman is in.
Just like the church
Yeah.
and the jazz club
Mhm.
and the rest of this movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Why does he have vampires?
that's very true.
He has vampires.
He does have vampires.
Oh yeah, huh?
Yeah. He won't like. Well, it's because that's a big problem of Venom.
Yeah.
Half the time his face is peeled back, and you don't. It's not Venom. You just see freaking Topher Grace's face underneath,
Yeah.
and it's like.
We don't want to see his face. We want to see
And
Venom's
he
face.
doesn't say we, huh?
No, he doesn't, because he's he's like.
You
oh, 'cause
made me lose my girl, I'm gonna make you lose
Yeah.
yours.
And he just says he doesn't say wait. He just says yeah.
You made us lose,
Mhm.
now we make you lose.
Pretty BS.
We are Venom.
Alright.
So yeah. Then after that, Venom kidnaps MJ again. By the way, MJ gets threatened twice in this movie by 2 villains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
twice the record, I guess.
Yeah.
That's pretty ridiculous. Peter sees a newscast of Venom, of the construction site attack.
Yeah.
Where it's Sandman attacking a bunch of the SWAT, and it's also Venom. I thought that would have been such a great scene to show like another horror movie scene where it could have been like Venom wrecking a bunch of those like police officers or SWAT, whatever they were.
But then again, it was getting too long for the movie.
But that would have been a good addition, I think. And
I did like the little like where they show the camera on him and he just like jumps out at
like,
it.
imagine if you actually saw that and not just cut in like a newsreel. That would have been really cool. But I think that's just missed. I think that was just a missed opportunity. Again, especially seeing as Sam Raimi is such a horror movie director.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a great.
Yeah, I think he should have done more aspects of like.
I'm pretty sure he wanted to, but they probably.
They were like try and keep it G for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After he sees the report, he goes to Harry.
Yeah.
He asks him for help, and obviously Harry's like, F off.
Harry's like, you serious, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, after what you did to my face,
Yeah.
dude. Jesus, man.
Yeah, but I mean, immediately after.
See this shit? I can't even brush my teeth without wincing in pain.
Yeah.
What the hell's your problem?
Can't even see anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyways, and immediately after, Henry's servant, Bernard, who's a very minor character in this whole trilogy, but he finally has a big role in this scene.
Yeah.
He basically tells him, "Hey, man, your dad kind of killed himself."
Murked himself.
Yeah, exactly. He got
Spider-Man was just there to help.
Yeah.
He was trying to save him.
Which is kind of you would think this guy would want to tell him that, like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty early on.
You would think this is some important stuff to tell Harry, you know? Okay, so after he tells him that, it's pretty obvious that Harry will end up helping Peter in the end, right?
Yeah. I mean, after he realizes that, his dad just killed him, so.
We always gotta appreciate the badass shot of Spider-Man in front of an American flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah.
But actually, before we get to that, I wanted to mention that despite being a crowded film, Harry's arc is not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as good as Sandman's, but it's not as bad as Venom's, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like if this movie did not have Venom at all, and it was just Sandman and maybe Harry, I think his story would have been really good too. It would have definitely been better. Cause he's a character from the first movie, and he would have had I think he would have a really good. I think he ends up getting a good arc.
Yeah.
It just would have been a lot better if there was more time dedicated to him.
Yes.
Because a lot of his story beats move like that. Like he gets his amnesia, he doesn't have his amnesia. He breaks up MJ and Peter, and then he sort of just tells him, "Hey, man, I did it."
Yeah, it was too rushed.
Yeah, and then right now he says he's not gonna help Peter. Obviously, he's gonna show up in a bit. And
So meanwhile,
after
after Spider-Man is just like getting his.
he's getting
It's getting hemmed out.
Yeah.
Another badass thing we gotta appreciate is freaking when he's getting wrecked by Sandman. Like he's just coming down with that hammer fist and just freaking.
Now that was
Then all of a sudden you just see a little think in Sandman's ear and he's like, huh?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you see the zooms in on the pumpkin bomb and then boom.
Yeah.
You're just like, yes.
It is pretty cool. Man.
Yeah, I love
His intro.
When I was a kid, man, I was so excited for that. You know what I said in the movie theater? Like hella loud when I was like a kid. I was like, I knew that was gonna happen.
Well, you see.
And I was like, fuck, dude.
I can imagine Alberto as like a child.
And everyone in the movie theater was just like laughing, and they were like, yeah, everyone was clapping.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool, especially seeing as for
like a team up.
Yeah. Yes. So I was gonna say that, right? Like, it's so cool seeing Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man teaming up with another like hero character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that would have been so cool to see a lot more of that, like some crossover. Like,
They were gonna have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the freaking first one, but they couldn't get the costume.
Yeah, which sucks. That's why I think one of the benefits of the new MCU Spider-Man is the fact that he can interact with the other Avengers, right? That's what really makes that Spider-Man really cool.
He barely interacted with freaking Iron Man.
Yeah, but
he didn't need. He was just his mentor.
But anyways, he's in Infinity War. You know? And he's in Civil War.
Okay.
You know. So yeah, I wrote that down too in my notes. I'm like, that's a very cool scene because I feel like it would have been really nice to have seen more like teams.
Yeah.
If they kept going, right? If they made a Spider-Man 4, 5, 6, however many they make, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. he gets there, and then they save MJ, but then so it's Venom versus Spider-Man and Sandman versus Harry, right?
Yeah.
And Venom's kind of wrecking him.
Yeah.
Spider-Man for a bit. He gets him tied up, and he's about to freaking kill him. And then Harry shows up.
like a badass.
Yeah, shows up, freaking swings his goblin, which is more like a skateboard, but okay.
Yeah, hoverboard.
Glider.
Basically a hoverboard.
Yeah, skater goblin. Knocks him
This
out.
was the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's very true.
Nothing says fear like a scooter. A sky scooter.
That is very true. Anyways, but he gets knocked out by Venom pretty easily, and he grabs his glider, which has the two spikes at the end.
Yeah.
He's gonna impale Peter, and then Harry jumps
Like
in.
a badass again.
Yeah, jumps in and
saves his
freaking
friend.
sacrifices
went out
himself.
the same way.
Great friendship right there.
Yeah,
after
Went
that.
out the same way his pops went.
And I was saying that's a
Yeah.
very poetic end scene. That's exactly how his dad died. So,
Yeah. And then
Very-
freaking Spider-Man gets pissed and he's like, none of that shit.
Yep.
All the pipes start falling
Yeah,
and then freaking Venom's like, freaking.
Like
And then he has a
like the
flashback
mask.
to the church. Yeah. He has a flashback to the church of when he freaking took off the symbiote.
Yeah.
He's like, that's a good idea. Freaking puts all the pipes into the
Yeah.
ground and just ding.
Makes a little cage for him.
Then so Peter manages to separate Brock from the symbiote and uses one of Harry's
and
pumpkin
ends up
bombs.
marking them both.
And because freaking Eddie jumps in.
He's like, no!
Yeah, I know. He's trying to reunite the symbiote, and they both get blown.
Don't do it, bro. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Bye bye.
Well,
A very anticlimactic end for a very.
Anticlimactic character.
Yeah.
she just committed murder, but it's alright.
Yeah, man, it wasn't
No one
on
cared.
purpose.
Yeah.
Nobody liked the dude. So
Yes.
Yeah, no one really liked the dude.
No one.
He's not gonna be
He's not gonna be missed. Yeah, you're right. Then Sandman confronts Peter.
Plus, all the evidence is gone.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, then Sandman confronts Peter about what actually happened tonight, and he tells him, "Hey man, I didn't want to kill your dad. It was an accident."
Like how all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry I kicked your ass and killed your uncle. Are we cool?" Spider-Man's like, "Yeah, we're cool.
Yeah, we're cool.
All right, deuces."
Yeah.
But just like saying that it was an accident.
No, I mean listen, it works because Sandman is already established as a sympathetic character.
Yeah, I mean,
And
he
it
feels.
makes,
for
yeah,
people.
and it makes sense that he didn't want to kill Uncle Ben. And so he basically just asks Peter to forgive him. Peter says, "Don't worry about it, bro. We forgive him." And then he disappears into a sandstorm, which
Which is understandable. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And then he gets, I guess he gets affected by Thanos' snap because he sort of just disintegrates. Yeah.
Rides off into the
Yep.
sunset.
Yeah.
I think that's where they got it off.
Yeah, I think no. Obviously, he just becomes like a mini Sand. That's how he
Yeah.
transports in this movie. Right? And that's
a great way.
That's the end. That's the end of Sandman's story arc, which is again, in my opinion, the best one in this film.
Yeah.
Just
And then after that, we see.
yeah. So then we get a pretty emotional scene between Peter, MJ, and Harry. And when he's basically like, "Hey man, you're my friend, bro." And
I'm sorry how we're treating
I
you.
love
You
you,
know?
and I'm sorry to see you go. So if you could just please call me back.
It's pretty good. I mean, everyone's performance is really good, especially James Franco.
What was up with that end? The end.
That is
though,
true.
like,
That's I did.
where she's just singing in the jazz club.
To me, that ending is very weak, and it's made even weaker by the fact that there was never a Spider-Man 4. You know?
Yeah, because it
just
conclusions.
Yeah, it just ends in like a bittersweet way, and it's very just like I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
But I think that wasn't their fault.
No, it was. Yeah, no.
It was
wasn't.
just like, too many movies.
Well, I think
already.
I think it's the fact that it ends on the weakest storyline of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is MJ and Peter's relationship.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I think is why the movie ends up very weak. And well, that's Spider-Man 3.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
What's it called? Like, what I heard about Sam Raimi's like supposed storyline of Spider-Man 4, it was gonna be a bit darker. Like Peter was gonna have an affair. Like they were gonna end up like freaking.
I think
What's
I
it
heard
called?
that.
Getting like they were gonna like split up. Then freaking
why?
Spider-Man was
Well-
just gonna hang up, or Peter was gonna hang up like the Spider-Man
Again?
thing for good.
Oh wow.
He was just gonna be like freaking like
That kind of repeats the beats of Spider-Man 2 though.
Yeah.
kind of like the antithesis of freaking what's
Yeah.
it called,
It's like-
Daredevil.
Like-
He's
I
not like
guess
where
I
he
see.
goes, he like burns Matt Murdock and then he just stays as the devil of Hell's Kitchen. He's gonna burn Spider-Man and stay as freaking Peter
I
Parker.
guess. Anyways,
I didn't know either.
overall thoughts.
Well, I think I think there's really great action scenes.
Uh-huh.
Like, I just liked the action scenes and the costume designs.
Right.
But other than the story,
Uh-huh.
it wasn't that great. I mean, they could have done like better. They should have just never rushed the production of it.
I get it. Manny?
Well, I mean, going back to like when I was a kid and I didn't really know much about like comic books, like source material. I never really knew much about it, so I just saw it, and of course, I don't know what the hell like a crappy movie is.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. I love Spider-Man, and then seeing the black suit was like new. It was fresh, a fresh take on Spider-Man.
Right.
And like rewatching it even now, like with this knowledge that I have now, I still get a sense of nostalgia of like being a kid and watching it for the first time.
Right.
Yeah,
So I like it.
I get
cool.
the same. I get the same feel, vibe from you.
Yeah.
'Cause I did watch this when I was a kid too.
Well, I mean, at the same time, I mean, also as a kid, reminiscing on what I had knowledge at the time. I mean, still as a kid, I knew what I wanted out of a movie.
Right.
I knew really what I wanted, and I was really big Venom fan.
Mhm, nice.
For me, there wasn't enough Venom, or well, I mean, it all depends on everybody's like
Yeah, yeah.
what they want out of a movie. I mean, some people will maybe want more Sandman, some people maybe want more of a Spider-Man arc, or maybe more of Harry's arc.
Right.
But I mean, for me, the main part that disappointed me about this movie was the Venom, because I mean, they kind of did in a way market it to be
Right,
a
yeah.
Venom versus Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
They did market
That's
it as
very
that.
true. Yeah.
And I mean, I felt like, you know, I was kind of
Cheapened. You were
left with an empty promise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because they did market the movie as a Spider-Man v Venom movie.
It was false advertising.
Yes,
That's
false
what it
advertising, and I mean that's why I was also kind of hoping about the new Spider-Man movies that come out, even though it has nothing to do with Spider-Man
Right.
3. That was actually my biggest disappointment with this movie. That, you know,
Not enough.
not enough Venom, although they did market it as Spider-Man v
Yeah.
Venom.
I definitely think it's the weakest of the three of the trilogy, but it has its moments. I mean, like I said, I think to me the strongest thing about this film is Sandman's story arc.
Yeah, like the
He-
emotional
yeah,
moments.
he's-
They were great.
Like Doc Ock before, he's a very sympathetic villain,
Mm-hmm.
and that has to do, I think, both with the portrayal of the character, and I think it just would have been a lot better, again, had it not been so crowded with so many villains. I really love the score. Every Spider-Man movie, thankfully, or at least in the trilogy, has had a good musical score, and this one was really good too, especially seeing as Venom and Sandman's themes were really nice.
Yeah.
Story arc for Peter, I think it's also the weakest, because it could have been a lot better if it had
Yeah,
more
that's
time,
true.
and if the movie didn't have to worry about following so many characters and plot lines. If it was condensed down, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
And that sort of, I think we can then transition into, like, how would you guys have improved this film? What would you have guys done to, you know, sort of, or in your opinion, what would have made it better? You know? Like for me, I think you can get rid of Venom entirely. Like, you don't need Venom. You can get Venom. If you're doing Venom, do Venom. That's a whole movie.
That's a whole movie
It's
for
whole
itself.
movie. Yeah, exactly. You can still have the Black Symbiote.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a cool story arc that Peter is struggling
Introduction,
between. Yeah.
And they could also transition it for the next movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Peter is struggling to fight off his darker tendencies, and that is triggered by the symbiote.
Yeah.
You keep that. You keep Sandman. You develop him even more. You dedicate more time to him, and then you can. I guess you could also conclude Harry's arc. I don't know if you have him killed or not.
I don't think
but-
you would have him killed.
All right,
him.
but
Yeah, 'cause-
I think you can also fully flesh out. So I think those are the three story arcs that they really should have focused on.
Yeah.
Peter's struggle, Sandman's story arc, and Harry's.
For me, you kind of didn't even need a Mary Jane.
Yeah, I know exactly.
With
because-
the character they developed in this, you
Yeah.
kind of didn't really need Mary
Yeah,
Jane.
I know, and that's why to me it's still the weakest storyline of the film.
How about you,
I
Brian?
mean, yeah, pretty much what Juan said. I mean, there's certain people that really didn't have a place in this movie,
Yeah.
and some could have had their own movie. Or, I mean, even though some of them didn't really quite fit in, maybe had like a snippet here or there, but that fits well or keeps the flow of the movie going. Because I mean, this movie was kind of rushed and choppy,
Yeah.
transitioning from scene to scene, and there's so much to pay attention to. You kind of got lost in the maze,
Right.
either up in emotions or spectacle wise. That's pretty much all you can do, because at the end of the day, basically you just have to remove a couple characters.
I agree with like all the stuff that you guys said. And liked it most of the what's it called, the action scenes.
I think that this is like, why I'm kind of equating it to is like how Dead Space was back in the day. I'm not sure if you guys played that, but it was like trying too hard to be like an action game and a horror game and like a survival RPG. Like it was trying too hard to be too many things,
right?
That it was nothing to the people who freaking played it, and they were like, "This is nah." Like they're doing a freaking, or like think about it like this: freaking both Spider-Man movies that came before it had one villain each, one storyline each, right? And it focused more time on each villain, right?
Yeah, if you look over to like the synopsis of those two films, it's a much more cohesive story.
Yeah.
Whereas here, like as we mentioned at the beginning, this synopsis has so much going on that it just gets too cluttered.
Peter Parker and Mary Jane are having problems. Oh yeah, and there's a sand dude on the loose. And he just happens to have killed Uncle Ben. Oh yeah, and there's a freaking symbiote.
Alien symbiote.
Yeah.
But then there's gonna be another villain.
Exactly.
And then there's Harry.
And then freaking.
Oh yeah, he gets amnesia, by the way. Now he doesn't have it.
Exactly.
It just goes on and on.
Yeah.
They should have, like, if they were really trying to make a Spider-Man 4, they should have made this one like Sandman, and then maybe not even Harry.
Just Sandman.
I think
Sandman, and then maybe like Mary Jane and his problems, and then in the next one you introduce it with Venom. It gets like darker, and then he freaking starts, his mood changes, and that's what sets off like him and Mary Jane getting separated, something like that.
All right, well that's Spider-Man 3. Now we're gonna discuss a little bit of movie news, starting with the new Dark Phoenix trailer. What did you guys think about it?
Well, I didn't really seem interested, even though I've never seen any of the X-Men movies. It didn't really catch my attention. The action didn't seem really that appealing. Cinematically, with the motion picture and all that, I mean, it was alright. The CGI was okay. I mean, story-wise, I don't really see a story for me. I mean, I can't really understand it.
Right.
That's just from my point of view, when I've never seen these movies.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just didn't really grab my attention.
Right.
It wasn't really something that was, looking forward to, or I might give it a watch.
Right.
I didn't really consider that after I saw this trailer.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty underwhelming. I guess after the release of Apocalypse, I mean, these movies did not seem to get any better. I mean, this film has been apparently they've done a lot of like big reshoots.
Yeah.
Where they
had to start from scratch.
Yeah. Initially, this movie was supposed to come out this year, then they pushed it to next year, February. And and not even that, because just recently they announced that it's being pushed back to June for this year, even though the trailer says February at the end, which I think is very funny. Yeah, I don't really think the studio has a lot of hope for this film, especially the way they've been treating it so far.
I could agree with that, because like when we had a Dark Phoenix, like look at Last Stand.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that was
no good.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Just wasn't great.
And then in other news, Deadpool 2 is being re-released this December with a PG-13 rating. I don't really know what to think about this.
Feels like kind of a cash grab for kids, you know.
Right.
It's a good way to make profit, but I don't know if it's gonna change the whole movie or not, because there's a lot of editing. I don't know how would they censor Deadpool. He's a character that
really needs an R rating.
Yeah. How about you, Brian? What do you think?
For me, it's kind of unnecessary. What's been done, it's been done. It's like trying to reverse what's already been said and done. I mean, Deadpool is a character, like you said, that needs a rated R, because he's more of a gag character and more comedic. I mean, some jokes are funny here and there, like if he was to be a kid, because he appeared in what was it, Amazing Spider-Man, or the Spider-Man show on
Ultimate Spider-Man?
Ultimate Spider-Man. He appeared on there, but I mean, it's not the same when you have a character that can be expanded and not just be. I mean, he could be kid friendly, but I mean, there's times where he can also be adult friendly, because there's certain jokes and there's stuff that can be explored, like in the scene where he sees Juggernaut and Deadpool 2. Like you see Juggernaut rip him in half, and there you can still expand on like the fact that he has
healing factor.
Yeah, healing factor. Yeah, and I mean, for you to fully explore those elements of that movie or his character,
you need a rated R.
You need a rated R, because I mean, how are you going to show that he has a healing factor? Oh, I'm not going to show him getting shot.
Right.
Or there's not going to be any blood involved. I mean, that kind of kills the whole character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of makes it seem watered down, and it's kind of unnecessary. Especially, I mean, if they're trying to release it towards kids, I mean, there's really no point in doing it other than just a cash grab.
I think the good thing, though, about Deadpool, seeing as he breaks the fourth wall, I think he would acknowledge the fact that he went from R to PG-13, and he'd probably make a lot of jokes about it. I still think it can work. And then, final news. First Venom reactions online have been released, and apparently it's not very good. We're still gonna watch it, obviously, and that's what we're gonna be reviewing next week. I mean, this doesn't. I'm still gonna watch it. You know, I'm still curious to see. You know, if it really is that bad.
Yeah, I don't really trust some critics on some points.
It doesn't really affect my. I mean, that's the thing though. I wasn't really like that excited.
Yeah.
Especially after finding out that it wasn't gonna be rated R.
Yeah.
I think if they said, oh, it's gonna be a rated R film, I definitely would have been a lot more interested in seeing how they were gonna portray the character. Yeah.
How he said it's not gonna really show the elements of Venom.
Yeah. That was it. Well, that's it for the news, and that's it for our first podcast. Thank you for joining us. Next week, as we mentioned, we will be reviewing Venom, and well, we've been your hosts, Juan, Brian, and Alberto. We'll catch you up next week.